Welcome back to the YouTube channel Bay Real Experts, where we aim to educate you on the local real estate market so your next move can be smart. One question we've been getting throughout the years is, where can I buy a property, a house specifically, that will allow short-term rentals? We'll touch a little bit on condos as well, but we're talking about Panama City Beach here, so let's jump straight into it. Okay, you guys, so as you've probably heard the term garbage in, garbage out, I will say 95% of the time, agents do a fantastic job about marking the little tick box I'm going to show you right now of this little field in the MLS that says short-term rental allowed, yes or no. And if it's a house and the search is all set up properly, everything works out golden. But what if you are looking on Zillow and not using the MLS? Well, first of all, shame on you. No, just kidding. If you are looking for property on your own and you want to know if the location is zoned for short-term rentals, this video will help you out. So follow the cursor up here into the search bar, and you will see we are at gis.baycountyfl.gov and then /Bayview/. So here you can see Panama City Beach very clearly. You come up here to the three dashed lines here for a drop down, and then you're going to go down to land use and zoning. Tick the box for zoning and come back over here, and then you can zoom in if you want to use the plus minus in the bottom left, which happens to be cut off in the video, but I know it's there. Or if you have a mouse and you want to scroll in and it has a scrolly wheel, that'll work too. So any homes that have a R1 anything within Panama City Beach are going to be a no. So let me jump over to one of my favorite examples, because I'm going to zoom out here for a second. A lot of times people will call this area here, this bridge, the Hathaway Bridge, they'll call this from here to here, they'll call this Panama City Beach or Panama City Beach proper. Well, that's kind of a misnomer, because the zone, when we're talking about zoning anyways, the zoning for Panama City Beach is kind of a mix and match between Bay County zoning and Panama City Beach city zoning, the city of Panama City Beach. So, all right, so there's a few different things that we're going to have to take into consideration. The first one is the zoning. Will it be allowed via zoning? And then the second thing would be HOA. Does the HOA, if there is one, allow it? And then the third thing, which does come up from time to time, is, are there any deed restrictions? The short answer is here, ask your agent, because the MLS and agents that put in listings properly will be identified if the property that you're interested in is allowed to do short-term rentals. But if you're interested in doing your own due diligence, which you always should, let's start with zoning. Let's take, for example, this subdivision here, which is part of the Glades. I'm going to move this over here. We'll take a look at this house here. It's R1. And R1 within, if you look here, it says PCB. It could be R1, R1B, it doesn't matter. Anything within, when it says PCB right here like this, that's a no. The zoning does not allow that. Now, look at this close by though. We have R1 and it says BC. See this yellow area here? This is right close by. That is allowed. Now, the biggest difference is Bay County has zoning. This is another subdivision that is governed by Bay County zoning. Look at it. It says R1, but it says BC. That's for Bay County. So when it says Bay County or BC, that means there's no restrictions on short-term rentals. Now, if it's R1 and it says PCB, like we saw over here in the Glades, that's a no. Any of the commercial areas says CH, those are mostly going to be condos. That is all going to be allowed by zoning within Panama City Beach, or where it says PCB, like right here. So generally, when you're looking for a house, it's going to be in R1 or R2 zoning. And the biggest differentiator there when we're just talking about zoning is between Bay County and Panama City Beach. Let's zoom out here and get a better look. If you look at this whole area of what we call the Lower Grand Lagoon or South Lagoon, as more of the locals call it, as we zoom in, we see all of this is governed by Bay County or BC zoning. So you can, in pretty much all of this area here in the South Lagoon, all these houses, you can do short-term rentals by zoning. Now, the next thing that we need to consider would be if there's an HOA, would it allow it? Now, let's go over to, for example, like Bidawee Seclusion right here. If you notice the first 2 blocks of Bidawee, they're a different color than this yellow here. So it is PCB, but it says R2. Very interesting, important distinction here. R2, within PCB, you can do short-term rentals. Commercial, obviously, you can do short-term rentals in commercial. All the condos are zoned commercial. While we're touching on condos for a second, I want to just plug our site here for a minute. That if you jump over to look at our condos page on our website, and you want to know if a condo, a specific condo allows short-term rentals, you can do that. So let's take, for example, we'll click on Regency Towers here. If you scroll down, you'll see where it says short-term rentals allowed. Now, let's go back to the condos page, and I'm going to pick a condo that I know for sure does not allow it. So let's go to St. Andrews Park Place. Very rarely do we see any inventory come up for sale in there. However, I just want to, for demonstration purposes only, our website's a great resource if you're looking for a condo and wondering if the condo allows short-term rentals or not. Scroll down, and they're here. See in bold where it says not allowed. So any condo that doesn't allow it, we've already identified that for you there. Makes it pretty easy. We've gone through all the homework of whether it's zoning or the HOA or if there's deed restrictions. Our condos page is very accurate as of the date of the recording of this video. Please check the date. Getting back to zoning, more popular to see Bay County, again, governing over if you can do short-term rentals or not, is when we start getting over into Laguna Beach. It goes from Panama City Beach, city limits for zoning, and then it gets back into Bay County. See where it says BC in the parentheses here? That means it is okay by zoning. You don't commonly see a lot of HOAs over on this end of the beach. However, you may run into deed restrictions. And some of these can be controversial. I actually had a listing in this community over here, right in here, where it says R3 Bay County. So you would say, okay, well, it's in Bay County. It should allow short-term rentals by zoning. Now, there happened to be an attorney that owned this property, and the interpretation that they had over the deed restrictions allowed them to go ahead and short-term rent this property. Now, there are, if you want to look up the language there are other people doing short-term rentals within this community, but there are some neighbors that would not be thrilled to know that you are doing short-term rentals if you have a property there. So it really comes down to if someone wants to take you to court over it. But there is no HOA in this area, but it does have some deed restrictions, and it is up to each person to do their own due diligence and their attorney's opinion to determine whether that would be a good idea to do short-term rentals in this specific area. So whenever there's deed restrictions, make sure you consult your attorney to know whether their interpretation would mean it would be a good idea to do short-term rentals there or not. Okay, you guys, whether you're a new agent and you're just trying to add some new tools to your tool belt to help explain this to your customers. The GIS Bay County map is super powerful. There's lots of different overlays. You can do all kinds of things with it, whether you're looking for wetlands, floodplains, or roads, whether they're paved or not, or whether they're county maintained, which can matter for financing on certain loan products. So much useful information you can find from just this one website. Go ahead and mess around with it, play around, see all the different things that it can do for you. If you're a consumer, hope this was helpful to you to help learn a little bit about how we as agents determine whether areas are available to do short-term rentals or not. But if you would like some personalized assistance with that, it doesn't cost anything to use a buyer's agent, please give me a call. My name is Sean Casilli with Coldwell Banker Realty, and you're watching the YouTube channel, Bay Real Experts. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and then maybe watch this video here about something else real estate related. We'll talk to you on the next one. Sorry. Bye for now.